said, look, anytime you have a moment and you just feel like hopping on and going live, then do it. And just talk a little bit. Tell us what you're doing and how it's going. And so, like, okay, here I am. Doing just that. So we'll just see if anybody hops on. I'm at Seoul Station, and I'll wait to see if I see anybody right now. But I'm at Seoul Station in Seoul, the main train station in the city of Seoul, headed down to Changwon. Actually, Jinsu is the town I'm going to today, and then I'm going to Changwon and then coming back. And so I just thought, okay, I'm standing here. I got here early, waiting for the train. Hang on, let me see if I can turn my camera around. I don't know if I can do that. Hang on. And I think I can. Hold tight. Here we go. There we go. So it's a standard train station. It's pretty modern by train station standards, I think. But uh, yeah, I can imagine that, of course, would be the case. So yeah, just hanging with folks. Let me pop back. And it's been a whirlwind of a couple of days. I got here on Sunday evening, and the first thing I did was go to the store and just get a few things that I needed because I stay when I'm here. I stay in an apartment in a hotel, so it's good. Um, and so headed by a little bit of food. How you doing, Irvin? Nice to see you. And then and Jason, thanks for hopping on. I and then I went to the spa. It's one of the first things I like to do, and the spa here is oh man, in the basement of the hotel where I stay. It's a actually a retirement uh, residence hotels, but there are certain floors that are reserved for guests like myself, and so. But in the basement is the spa, which is really just quite amazing. First off, there's a golf driving range, one of these, like, I don't know what you call it, automatic. So I hit some golf balls and borrowed some clubs, hit some golf balls, and then go to the spa. And in Korea, spas are really just, I don't know. For me, I love the experience. So you you don't wear any clothes at all. I mean, once you get inside, you take your clothes off, so you can go into the various pools. And there's in this particular one, there are 5 or 6 different pools, different water temperatures, and so on. And it's nice to just go in. First off, it's nice to just go from pool to pool and a sauna um, and different things, like a wet sauna, a dry sauna, and then go back to the pools. And yeah, man, it's just so relaxing. And the hottest water that I was in was 43 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but I actually had my head leaning back and I fell asleep. And then I woke up because I was so tired from the flight. And I woke up realizing that, oh my God, like the last thing I need to do is fall asleep in 43-degree water. There were people around, but it was all men, obviously. My age, it's kind of a standard age. There were some younger men, but most probably live in the building, and it's a 250-story structures, so it's really a lot of people. Anyway, that was it, man. That was my first day, and then the second day, uh, I had met G. Well, I went over to Chromebook, took care of some things, and then met G. If you remember G, if you watch any of the old videos, G was my kind of right hand guy up in the front of the class the past 2 years, and he's Korean, although lived in the U.S. for a long time, and he's back living in Seoul. So we had lunch together, and then he took me on a hike around some of the areas here in the city. And Korea is very homogenous, so 96% of Koreans are of Korean ancestry, and of people living in Korea, right? So 96% is pretty significant relative to the when you think about this multicultural way of the world. So when you're here, like, here, watch. Hang on, I'm going to turn. We're in a. This is the main train station, right? So there are lots of most of the tourists here are from other parts of Asia, um, and but really, uh, and but lots of people living here. But in any case, 96% of Korea is people of Korean ancestry. And so when you're here, you really, even in Seoul, you don't feel like you're in this multicultural city in the way that you do if you're in, like London or Paris or Rome or New York or LA or Istanbul or any of the kind of large cities, man, where you just feel like you're living. It's a global city. And but here it's not. I mean, where I am right now, obviously. But I'll jump on it later today. I'm going down to Chungwon in the south, and I'll be one of the very few uh, people who do not have Korean ancestry that I will be interacting with. So yeah, so it's quite fascinating, to be in a culture that is so homogenous in that way, to really feel like you're. By the way, see this woman right here? She had her sunglasses on. She is a model. Hang on, she'll probably come back on. She was a model that caused a bit of a stir here because Koreans are really into skin and skin care, and it's not so much about having white skin, but it's having skin that has not been tainted by the sun, like mine. Here, look at my skin. So if you just see all these flaws and blemishes and stuff, Koreans, it's okay for me. I mean, they don't like. I'm sure a lot of people look at me and think like, "Oh my God, this poor guy and his poor skin." but uh, but it really is about keeping, just having really healthy skin, and it's a part of the culture that goes back quite a number of centuries, and really in many parts of the world. But it's different. People in the West have this idea that it's really about um, trying to be like Westerners, trying to look white and appear white, and that's just not. Hang on, I'm gonna just turn my camera around. You just see certain people as they walk by, but it's not about trying to appear white or wanting to appear white. It's not that at all. It really is about having super healthy skin and being out of the sun. And the sun, increases the likelihood of a problem, skin cancers and all sorts of things. And so, people really stay, absolutely stay out of the sun. You'll see, in there are women here. You will see, and sometimes men, who will be like fully masked. Their hands they'll have gloves on. The sun will not touch any of their skin, and they could be like um, 60, 70 years old, and it's really profound. Actually, it's just a habit, and so to be putting skin care creams on to block the sun, and so yeah, it's pretty intense. So anyway, yesterday, of all things, and I'm pretty cognizant of it here, because I didn't really I didn't take care of my hearing when I was drumming, and I really didn't take care of my skin. Like this woman walking by with just perfect, perfectly unadulterated skin. Like if people get a freckle on them, man, they go and they get the freckle taken off, right? So I started on this because there was a model here who has lots of freckles, and she's quite well known around the world now because of that. And but I'll see if she pops back on. And it's so interesting to see her here in Seoul when in fact it's just not. That is not something people would want. And but in any case, it's really yesterday. So here's what I'm going to say. Yesterday, I needed some. Look like her right there. See that, and that is not a model. They're not trying to portray people who look white. They're trying to portray people who have unblemished skin, meaning like it's skin that is not tainted by the sun, and she's not. and she's not going to get skin cancer. She's not going to have skin problems. It's like, it's really intense. Whereas me, like, I go for my skincare checkup once a year, but I probably should go 2 or 3 times a year. Okay, so anyway, yesterday, so they got these stores that there's skincare products everywhere, and so I went into one of the kind of really popular stores here, and it was maybe at 3 in the afternoon because I wanted to get some moisturizer because I started to use moisturizer like a year ago because I went to this woman who reached out to me and said, "Hey, why don't you come she does skincare work and plastic surgery and so on." So she just invited me. She was a fan she watches Social 19 videos. And she said, I want to meet you. Why don't you come and we'll meet. Anyway, so she did an analysis of my skin and she gave me some skincare creams that I could wear. And I said that I should use. And I'm like, all right, I'll start using them. Why not? It's never too late. Well, it might be too late, but whatever. It's kind of fun, it's a certain value. And but I go to the store, it is packed with people, man. I mean, it's a Monday afternoon, it's 3 in the afternoon, and people are buying skin and hair products, but mostly skin products, and it's just packed. I'm like, oh man, like it's just profound. It's so interesting. So that's hang on, I'm going to turn this back around now. I'm kind of watching for my train, make sure I'm good. But you just see all of I mean, it's the same in the US, but it's just so heightened here. And yeah, the skin thing. So yeah, really fascinating, man. Just it's differences in human culture and human nature. And if we don't judge one culture um, by the standards of another, then it makes it really kind of fascinating. Hang on, I'm just going to take a walk here. So I'll go outside. I have time, so might as well just take a walk and see where we're at. See, yeah. So if we don't judge a culture by the standards of another, then it's really fascinating to see the things that things that people come up with creatively, as part of their just as part of their cultural mores and ways of being in the world. This is the main entrance to Seoul Station. Yeah. And this is it, man. Welcome to Korea. That's Namsang Tower in the background up there. It's a big radio television tower. And yeah, pretty wild. There's just these like big screens everywhere. And it's wild. It's cool. It's really. This is Yonsei University, one of the buildings. That's one of the big universities here. And there's a big renewal happening. You can read that. See Seoul Station. Yeah, it's cool. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day to travel. And then today I'm speaking in a little town called. I'm traveling to Jinsu, but then I'm gonna be speaking at a high school. And once I was going down to this area, and I really really like speaking at high schools because kids are so. Uh, Kids are, first off, Korean kids are hot. Man, I don't want to blow it out of proportion, but um, I've spoken at high schools before where like these kids they came up with their own questions for me. I said I'm not preparing a talk, so you got to tell your kids to come up with questions. So they sent it out, and the kids gathered in groups and they made up questions. And some of these questions, man, are so wild. They're so thoughtful and so interesting. I was speaking at high school once here, and these were like what for in the U.S. would be sophomores, and some of the questions I felt like it was show that you could call in assistance or something. I forget what it was called, but I felt like they asked this question about foreign policy between China and the U.S. and the historical roots of foreign policy and contemporary versus. I can't even remember what it was, but I have a former student who worked at the State Department as a national security advisor. She worked out of the White House, and I said, like, hey, can I call her for like help on this question, because it was mind blowing actually. So it's pretty cool to talk to high school kids here. So anyway, I'm going to do that this afternoon. I'll hop back down probably at some point maybe record some of it. I think it would be really nice to do, and then and yeah. So what else? Yeah, kids, they're excited. They're really excited. I mean, they're excited. Like I'm a professor, right? As a professor, I go into a high school and I'm a celebrity. Like, really, I mean, not as much as I would be if I were one of the top K-pop stars, but I'm a celebrity in a high school because I'm a professor. And like, I wonder, like, how many, certainly in the United States, man, how many places would a college professor be seen as a celebrity kind of person for kids who are like 13 to 17 years old. And so it's a big deal, man. So for me, that's a lot of fun to have that experience and allow myself, and just to with young people, man. And yeah, it's so, yeah, as Irvin said, yeah, they never cease to amaze. But to have that experience here, it's pretty cool. I'm sure there are schools around the U.S. I don't know if there's anywhere in the U.S. where I would get the reception as a professor that I get here. I really am not certain that there would be a school anymore. Maybe I'll hop on and we'll have them. They can answer, and they can jump on the stream. Some of the kids and answer the questions like, "What? Why is that?" But education. This is a Confucian culture. Education. Hang on, I'm going to turn this around. Education matters, and matters a lot, man. It's all about education. So, and this is a school where I'm going is in the south. So this is an area of the country that it's not like Seoul. Seoul is the kind of the economic, like the heartbeat of Korea. Although the rest of Korea matters, Seoul, this is the capital city. So it really a lot of the economic commerce and things happen here, man. Dude, this guy's got a cool hat. Irvin, check out that hat right there, man. How about that? Yeah, that's cool. All right, not as cool as my hat, Irvin. Not as cool as your purple one either, but it's nonetheless a cool hat. So, yeah, so it's cool. It's really nice to have that experience, and yeah, to so that's why I'm going. So I didn't have to speak at the high school, but the one woman who's organized a conference where I'm speaking on Thursday, she teaches at a high school. So I asked her if I could come and meet her students. So anyway, that's it. And then tomorrow I golf. I go golfing. So I'm golfing 3 times on this trip. So that's coming. That'll be cool. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it, man. That's life in Korea. Let me see if anyone has any questions. Yeah, okay, Jeff, I hear you. Ask the questions if they're not heard well. Yeah, yeah. It really is. Yeah, East burning red. Yeah, it's fun to it's really fun to respond to questions for me to which I don't know. Well, I don't have an answer, a real true answer to anything, right? I mean, especially when we get into certain areas of life, I just have thoughts and opinions and so on. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. And it really is. It really is. One of the problems here in Korea, of course, Eric, in response to Eric, is there is a pressure to be a top student. And kids start these Hagwons, like they're called cram schools, but they're after school programs, and kids start them as young as 3 and 4 years old. Man, they're going to these preschools, and the preschools are not preschools where you go play. They're school, man. They're called preschool. I mean, you are schooling, and like so, every attempt to give your child a head start in one way or another. Oh my God, it's so. Last night I was having dinner with a couple people, and we were talking about it, and they have kids, and we were kind of laughing about the intensity of it. And of course, it's not. Some of it is not a laughing matter to me. I mean, I'm always arguing here for people to lighten up a little bit. I didn't start. I did a talk here, which is kind of interesting. That I thought, it's the Sabashi. It's the kind of the Korean version of TED. It's kind of 15 minutes with a message, and I gave a talk in which I talked about my educational background and how I didn't really start taking school seriously until I was 20. And that I was a pretty voracious reader, but I was not into school, and I didn't get good grades, and I wasn't worried about where I would end up in life or anything like that. And but at 20, I caught on, and I moved ahead, and all sorts of really cool things happened, and I never lost my energy um, because I wasn't burned out, by the time I got into college, like I see a lot of my students. And so, especially by the time I got into graduate school, I was just getting started. I had not even turned on the afterburners when I started graduate school. So, anyway, I gave this message, and the message was to Korean parents saying, like, listen, some of us are slow starters. Like, you might have a child, and you feel like your child's just not going to get it, and they're motivated, but they're still just not able to really perform in the way you think they should perform, or maybe they have something besides school that they're really good at, and one thing after another. And it's just back off, relax a little bit. Like, look, there are a lot of us that we start late and we do really, really well. So I told Bum Jun is the CEO of Sabashi. I said, hey, listen, man, this talk is really. It was a good talk. I had photos of my childhood and like all sorts of things. Like, I really laid my story out, and it like exposed my soul. Well, to me, it's not really. It's a common story. Everybody knows it. But anyway, I said, I think this is really going to catch on here. Parents, people are really going to enjoy it, especially because afterwards there were a bunch of high school students who were there at the talk, and afterwards, so many of them came up to me and they were thanking me for the talk, and a couple were crying. They said, "God, I feel so much pressure to perform, and it's so good to hear what you're saying. I feel like I'm dumb. I feel like I'm slow. I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to be able to do it." And so, but hearing you and hearing your story really helps me. Here, look at this kid right here, and so cute. Anyway, so thank you for that. It's really, really a great story. And I said, oh man, okay, so this is going to go. Well, it turns out nobody watched the talk. People that watched it, nobody clicked share. Nobody sent it to their friends. People, the Korean parents absolutely had no interest in the message of my talk. They're just like, this is about Hagwons, man. Our culture is about cram schools. We're about starting it as young as we can start and pushing our kids forward and one thing after another. And so it was really fascinating. I think to this day, maybe it has like 30,000 views, but I had done 2 other Sabashi talks and they had, like 1 million views, 1.5 million views. And this one, which by far was the best, I thought, has about 30,000 views. It's really quite stunning, but I definitely misread the audience. That would be an example, like meaning, the audience right here, right? All of these, all of these Koreans, right? I misread them there, thinking that they might take like a I don't know, a message from the playbook of the professor. But nah, they didn't, man. All right. Okay, so listen, I gotta go inside. I gotta find my train. Uh, well, I don't have to find my train actually. My train is not listed yet, so I gotta wait a couple more minutes to see which track it's gonna be on. Wait, hang on. Let me turn this around so you can sort of see where I'm going. Because you don't need to see me. This is much more interesting. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. One of the things here that you schools they don't have sports in the way that we have sports in the U.S. at our schools. The sport is studying, man. I mean, there are some sports, but even at the universities, the university where I'm a professor, they have like basketball and soccer, and they compete against other universities. But like uh, 50 people will come out to the game or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just not. Yeah, it's not. Get out of the way. It's just not part of the culture here, man. It's about studying, and yeah, my train is the one that leaves at 10:07. So it's 10. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, man. That's where we are, and I'll just keep it pointed this way because I think it's probably more interesting. But Korea, if you've never been to Korea, um, well, looks like we're track 11. Okay, let's go down to track 11. If you've never been to Korea, it's definitely a place to go. Uh, yeah, and it's a super easy place to navigate and surprising. Even everybody, people know a little English, but everybody knows a little. Well, not people 40 and above don't, but people are often reticent to speak it. But uh, it's an easy place to be. Like my bag right here that I have, I could just forget it and leave it here and come back and it'd still be there, or my wallet or something. It's just really profound to be in a space like that. Here we are, man. This is like a train station anywhere in the world. People moving, coming and going, leaving. It's cool. So this is you it's cool. And the train will leave. It's supposed to leave at 10:07. It will leave at 10:07, and I'm supposed to arrive at 1:39, I think, and we will arrive at 1:39. And this here will be, and absolutely, that's the way it's going to roll. Yeah. Uh, it's pretty, and that's true in many countries around the world, obviously. But it's really nice to have that, to know that things run on time. And all right, hang on, hold on a second. I could have taken the elevator, but I didn't. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Anyway, that's about it, man. I'm gonna be signing off in a couple minutes. I gotta check out and see which car I'm in, and all this kind of stuff. Uh, and I can't be on my phone in the train. So yeah. Hold on. Got it. Hold on, let's check this out. I'm in car 4, seat 7A. Yeah. All right, everybody. I guess I can sign off. Let's see. Here's car 4. Hang on. Car 4, right there. Hey, look at that. First class. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll wait here for a couple minutes. Anyway, listen. Um, I'll hop back on later. I think that my talk is probably this gathering with students is probably in about 5 hours or so. So a lot of people will be sleeping, but whatever. I'll hop on. We'll do something. So I appreciate it getting on. It's great to have the conversation, and it's nice to be there. So it's good. It's really nice. It's nice to have the opportunity to chat a little bit. Uh, to have that, look at everybody just like rolling. Anyway, that's it. I don't have much more to say. I appreciate it. So I'll come on a few more times like this while I'm here because it just feels like it's nice. There are a lot of situations. I'd like to actually come on from the golf course, but I don't want anyone to see what a terrible golfer I am. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so thanks everyone, and be well, and we will talk when we talk next. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone. Yeah.